Take a moment to find the least common denominator of 2 and 5 for example 3. It's 10, so we're going to follow the same steps and be sure to write each non-fractional term as a fraction by putting it over 1. So we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by 10. And again, don't forget what's happening to the screen. Don't forget to distribute to each term inside of the parentheses. So 10 times 1 is 10 over 2 plus 20 over 5t minus 10 over 1. On the right-hand side, we're distributing twice, and we get 10 over 5t plus, my plus looks like a T, plus 10t over 1. Now again, nicely, it's going to divide out to coefficients and constants that are whole numbers. 10 divided by 2 is 5, plus 4t minus 10 is equal to 2t plus 10t. Now we're going to combine like terms on both sides of the equation, and we get 4t minus 5 equals 12t. I'm going to bring the coefficient that's smaller to the opposite side by subtracting 4t on both sides. I'm going to continue up here. So we're left with negative 5 on the left is equal to positive 8t. And now our last step to get t by itself is to divide by 8. And we get t equals negative 5 over 8. And the last example that we have here, we have to apply the distributive property before we find the least common multiple. So we have 1/3 x minus 6 over 3 is equal to 3 over 1. Right, as you can see, the least common multiple of 3 and 1 would just be 3. So the LCD in this case is 3. We're going to multiply each side of the equal sign by 3, and we get 3 over 3x minus 18 over 3 after we distribute is equal to 9 over 1. I'm going to continue on the side here. 3 divided by 3 gives us 1x. Negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. And 9 divided by 1 is 9. So we're just left to add 6 on both sides, and x is equal to 15. I'm going to show you a different way that you could have solved this problem, but the best thing to do, and we were always taught to distribute when we have a number outside of a set of parentheses, is to apply the distributive property by multiplying, right? Another thing we could have done here, though, is the only term that we have in our denominator here is 3, so we could have multiplied both sides of the equation by the actual denominator, by 3, right? So what we really have here is division by 3. So if we look at the inverse of division, which is multiplication, we would just have to multiply by 3 on both sides of the equation. So we would have 3 times 1/3, which is 1, and 1 times x minus 6 is just x minus 6. And we have 3 times 3 on the right, which is 9. So we can just, that's just a different way of solving it. So x is still equal to 15. Right, you have a few examples in your handout that are like this. But my suggestion is to always just distribute first and use the same steps that you've been using with the LCD to turn these fractions that we have into whole numbers that we can solve much more easily. Now we do have our benchmark 3 coming up this Thursday. So we have 2 different stations on work that we are practicing based on solving equations. So first you're going to practice what we just learned on solving equations by clearing fractions. When you're done with that, you'll look at some word problems relating to that. And then finally, when you finish stations 1 and 2, which should only take about, I don't know, 1 full period at most, so you should be able to finish both these handouts in 45 minutes. You'll have about 20 minutes to spend on station 3, which is a spiral review on linear equations. Have a great class.